Hi everyone, this is Jill B's Worm Farmer Jill today, and I'm just here to do a quick little video on why I feel that the bead system is the superior system for monitoring your bins and keeping track of their schedules and many other things that's going on. First of all, I like to do a total flip when I'm doing a health check on my worms. And that's because even though I do run lids and we do get some condensation on the bottom of the lids, which comes down into this substrate on the top, I remove this substrate because it's usually drier than the bottom. Moisture sinks because of a gravitational, or actually a magnetic force from the center of the earth, okay, causes those molecules to get pulled down, okay? That's why water travels through the lowest point. And so when I do a total flip, I remove the bead system from this bin and it goes to the next bin. So that is point number one for why I don't want anything permanently affixed to a bin. Also, any type of detailed notes, because we are flipping bins, goes on this piece of paper. This piece of paper is called Write in the Rain. Anything, if your hands are wet, it's not going to ruin your piece of paper. I'm going to tell you, it is super easy to write things down, especially when you're writing down all day long. Just here at, standing level on a flat surface, just write it down there. And then it easily gets transferred to the new bin. No, we do not have to spray each bin down with alcohol to make sure it's sterile before we transfer our substrate. We're not going to do that. So it's really not going to matter that we are, or that it's really not critical that we keep all the substrate in one location. If you happen to sell somebody some worms and then they call and say, oh my gosh, all the worms die, I don't know what happened, there's a disease that something, whatever. Okay, when they call and say, so-and-so sold me these, your entire wormery will be shut down, okay? It will help the inspectors to find where the problem came from, but because you're not using gloves in between each bin, if there is a contaminant, it's going to get transferred from substrate to substrate. You're not going to prevent that massive outbreak. Viruses. Okay. Why am I over there? Okay. So I'm going to show you number 2. Is that when I have all of these bins lined up, in order to read anything on the bottom of these, I almost have to crawl around on the floor. Okay, so I've just demonstrated it down here. I started out with this type of system where we write on the front of the bin and we look here, and it's like this down here. If I'm going to write, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be writing sideways. I guess we can write on it while it's on the table, but it's kind of heavy, and I think making it a convenient place, I would have to lift the bin up, and so I could write, or I have to squat down again. So I got rid of anything on the front of my bins. And if I were to split this tower up, because half of my bins are breeders and the other half are nurseries, I'm going to color code the front right here alongside. And I'm only going to use a color to indicate a certain amount of information. I'm not going to use this to do any writing because it's just too permanent. And that's why if I need to check in a bin to see what I got to do, then I just pick this up, put it here, and we'll use the color system on a tower to divide it any which way by only using it there. I'm not going to be writing on any colors. This is just too hard to write here and right there. So if I can demonstrate, again, let's go back to this bin. Only would it be convenient for me to write on the front. I'm going to see how this goes. If I've got my pencil and I lift this up, oh look, it's staying pretty good, but I don't know that I want to be writing on the front of this and turning my worms this side up. I think I would prefer just a piece of paper and write on the flat for writing. Now, if it's up on the top shelf, yeah, it's going to be easy to write on. It's going to be easy to read. No problem. My camera's falling down. So, there's that little bit of information and why I've chosen this. Also, as far as one color on the front, you're going to give one piece of information. And I feel like you need to know a lot of information in your bins. So, especially those of us who are scientists for the citizens, who are trying to do research that's very in-depth and detailed, we're going to want to know certain amounts of information off of each bin at all times. And that's moisture levels for certain bins when we're doing the research. So we can gain a lot more information here with these colors. If you want to know certain substrates, get a bead numbered. And then that substrate will have a number. And as you move that substrate, like I said, the system goes right along with the substrate. It's not stuck on a bin. So I move bins a lot. If there's a pathogen, it's in the entire wormery. It's not going to be because you're not wearing gloves and taking them off and pitching them between each bin. And that I do not feel like is a good idea. So these are extremely detailed information for scientific research, which I do feel there needs to be a lot being done yet on substrates that we could create a lot of content doing those studies on our own, on in individual in-home lab settings for the people that are a little bit clicking further than some of the high school graduates that are performing these studies, helping the professors, obviously, but I was there at one point in time, so I'm kind of a bit of a skeptic of some of the studies that I've read and seen. Materials and methods are a very big part of a study that needs to be analyzed. So there you go. That's my reasons for the bead system and why it's so handy dandy. And I think the longer you use any type of a fixed label, you will find or see why it's maybe not going to work. And so try a very small portion of your wormery using a few different methods, just gearing up to be extremely informative in your wormery is what this is basically for, so that you can do some experiments and studies. And there's going to be a lot of details when you design a study or an investigation, we call them. Those bits of information are very important. And so when you want to present your study, it's going to be looked upon with a critical eye, and these are some bits of information that those eyes are going to want to know. And so just bump it up a notch. Just bump it up a notch so you can look really super professional. It's all part of the game. And let me know what you think. Do a comment and say, this is why your system doesn't work, and then I can improve upon it, and we could do a little friendly, sharpening of the swords, and get better and better at what we do, and give credit where credit is due as well. So you guys out there paying attention, following along, I appreciate you greatly. Now, try and help me get better at what I do by commenting. And let me know that my information is appreciated and that it is helping somebody else out there, so that I continue to bring to you these types of thoughts of, my goodness, why didn't somebody come up with that a long time ago? I don't know why. Maybe it's just a fresh mind that ends up bringing information to the table. I don't know. And not sure why somebody would get a bunch of emails about why somebody hadn't come up with the information when they hadn't come up with it themselves until very recently. So, everybody, have a wonderful day. I will keep working away here in the wormery. I'm having a lot of fun. I love these worms. I never thought it, but it really is trapping my mind and keeping it focused and busy. And that's really what my scientific mind needs. So I am going to keep going. We're going to get bigger and bigger. I think this is going to be the key to being my success in the microbial farming. And so far, we've created a lot of substrate, and I hope that it's going to be enough. I need to get into those calculations and find out how much I'm going to need. And hopefully, doing these videos is helping you guys.